some November football, and as Harlan Barnett told us, November is for contenders, and despite being 3-6, this team is contending to go 4-0 November. They're contending for a bowl game, and they're contending for their pride. They're going to have to contend against that man, Marvin Harrison Jr., arguably the best player in all of college football.
And I think they're going to have to be prepared to withstand an early storm, because I expect Ohio State to come out much better, much more aggressive early in this game. The last 2 weeks on the road, the game before that here against an excellent Penn State defense. Tonight, they want to get off to a great start.
MSU won the toss, defer to the second half, so Jonathan Kim will boom it deep, and it will be a touchback to start us out. Certainly helps when you've got Travion Henderson healthy and in the backfield, and Cade Stover, who didn't play last week against Rutgers, back out there on the first play as the tight end. And Henderson just hops through the line. He'll pick up 5 on first down. So dynamic out of the backfield, hard to stop. Henderson stays in there, 2nd down and 5. And he's got the pill again, bounce it to the outside. Henderson, turn on the speed into the secondary, out of bounds across the 40. Gross shoves him out of bounds after a gain of 13.
So you can't take bad angles. You've got to set the edge. If you don't set the edge and keep your outside arm free, he's got too much speed to bounce it to the outside.
Empty backfield on first down for McCord. Plenty of time, steps up, there's Stover, his first catch of the day, spins his way to midfield. Already positive signs on this opening drive. Handoff, and it's Xavier Johnson, the wide receiver, coming out of the backfield to pick up the first down. So we've seen Ohio State spread the sugar a little bit early. Henderson, Johnson, Stover all with a touch.
Snap.
And McCord's going to go back to get it, recover, and just dirt it in the direction of Ibuka. Chip Trainum, the running back, on 2nd down. McCord back to pass, dart over the middle, incomplete. And flag does come in. A couple of them late. Ibuka was held up as Mangum was locked up with him in the secondary. So first down pitch to Henderson instead. Makes a cut, and Henderson explodes, picks up 7 more. Ryan Williams was so impactful last year. He's out for the rest of the season. Injury suffered a couple weeks back as McCord goes to play action. Fires to the sideline. It's caught. Out of bounds. Stover for another first down. Picks up 10.
Here he is right there.
Fake it to Henderson. Pitch it. Harrison. Open space. There he goes. Marvin Harrison Jr. Touchdown. Ohio State. Get it to the playmaker. Jaden Fielding on for the extra point, and it is 7. Put them up 7-0.
And all their guys got touches on that opening drive, which is important.
The running back on first down had a wonderful start to the season, has slowed down of late. Play action for Hauser on first down. Swing it to the outside. Catch is made, and Montori Foster is going to extend forward for a first down. Picks up 11.
But he wanted an opportunity to play big-time football in a conference like the Big Ten.
Playing without 2 of his top receivers in Mosley and Glover, and this is going to be an incompletion. Just throws it short of Foster. 2nd down and 10. Hauser back to the air again. Slant over the middle. It's caught. Alante Brown. First down and more. 2 top 10 teams, and that was the biggest key for Harlan Barnett, who wanted to limit the mistakes. Jaron Mangum with his first carry, and he dives forward after a pickup of 7. Keep an eye out for number 6 in white, Malik Carr, who did not play last week. He's a big target at the tight end spot. Not in there right now either. Bootleg for Hauser. Uncorks and incomplete, out of bounds.
Might run it twice here.
Fake it. Hauser looking to get to the outside. He can't. Spun down in the backfield. Big play and a welcome back moment for Denzel Burke. This guy's leg gives him confidence to call different plays based on the situation. This is a 56-yarder for Kim, and it's no good.
It's fun. I had some good weapons too, but that's fun.
Play action. McCord just gets rid of it. Stover, a security blanket, and then some. Makes something out of nothing for a first down pickup of 12. Last week in the win over Rutgers, but there's just such intangibles that Stover brings to the table. Jump cut. Henderson couldn't make the second miss, but a nice run.
You kind of hold your breath every time 32 gets the football.
Swing it. Stover again. Room to run down the sideline. Shoved out of bounds inside the 30. Aaron Brule got the angle. Marvin Harrison Jr. is at the top of your screen, matched up with a true freshman, Chance Rucker.
No safety help.
And they are looking for the end zone. Harrison one-on-one. He's got it. A one-man wrecking crew. Marvin Harrison Jr. Touchdown, Ohio State. Todd, we were talking about this game this morning, and you mentioned it as Fielding does add the extra point. I don't think people realize how great Chris Carter not only was here at Ohio State, but of course in the NFL as well. In career touchdowns, his 28th, third straight game with multiple touchdowns as well to open it up offensively. And they'll hand it off. Nate Carter on first down with some good blocking in front. And Carter turns on the speed and out of bounds at midfield. Really known for his blocking. Play action on first down. Hauser going deep down the sideline. Incomplete. Overthrew Foster. And tight coverage by Burke. Carter in motion on second down. Design run now for Hauser up the middle. And there is no room. That hole plugged up quickly. Picks up maybe 2 yards. So far it's been all Hauser. 3rd and 8. In the pocket, lofts it too high. First one was the long missed field goal. Now they'll try to pin him deep as Ballard is back to receive it for OSU. And this one, somewhat of a shank. Does get the bounce, stays inbounds, and it'll be down at Ohio Stadium. And now another chance for Kyle McCord, who is 5 of 6, 73 yards and a touchdown in this opening quarter. Handoff, Chip Trainum on first down. He picks up 3. Well, KT, I'd love to know what he considers not fast.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he was fast, just maybe by his own standards or accord. As McCord drops back on 2nd and 7. That one a little high, but brought in by Julian Fleming.
Or maybe by his dad's standards when you get the ball in his hands.
Here's a 3rd down for the Michigan State defense. McCord under pressure. Who else? Marvin Harrison Jr. ducks out of bounds just shy of midfield. Trainum stays in there. Play action. McCord lofts it. Incomplete. Said the hardest part is trying to find the game reps to get him back into that shape. Here's a 2nd down and 10. Dump it down for Trainum. And he will fly over the top of that first would-be tackler, Malik Spencer.
Particularly on defense.
3rd down, here comes the blitz. McCord reads it. To the outside he goes, and it's a first down for Julian Fleming. Henderson spins away. Just keeps the legs churning to the 35. They've got talent in the backfield outside of Henderson, but it's that home run ability. This time it's going to be a wide receiver getting in there. Xavier Johnson, 2nd carry of the game. Abuka the motion man. McCord looks the other way. It's Henderson out of the backfield. Stutter step, and Henderson can't get away.
If he catches it out there. And Aaron Brule did a beautiful job.
Going to go quickly here. Henderson makes the first miss. Henderson was on his feet. Rucker matched up on Harrison once again. That was the matchup that they went to the touchdown. McCord looking that way, firing that way. Wide open, Henderson. First down, spins all the way inside the 10. It's 1st and goal.
What a beautiful route adjustment, whether this was called from the sideline or just something between Kyle and Marvin. But he knows there's double coverage. So instead of running into the hole between the corner and safety, he just does the stop, and it's a thrown to the outside shoulder. A great adjustment to the coverage.
Ohio State will get the playoff before the end of the first, but it's Henderson who is spun down and thrown to the ground by Derek Harmon. That'll end this first quarter. And Henderson in the backfield. Abuka the motion man. Play action. McCord, end zone. Again, Marvin Harrison Jr. is magical. His 3rd touchdown. Now, one of those today was a rushing touchdown, so his 12th receiving touchdown of the season. He continues on that career list, his 29th career receiving touchdown. The #1 team in the country. Now with a 21-0 lead, Michigan State will get the football back here, and we'll see if they can put together a productive drive to get themselves on the board. Fair catch called for and made by Tyrell Henry.
Because you're not going to drive it 12 plays on this defense.
Mangum finds the hole, but can't escape to the outside. 2nd down and 6 for Hauser. Quickly to Henry on the outside. He's got some speed with the ball in his hands. Leads the team with 659 yards coming in, 4 touchdowns. Play action for Hauser. Dials it up. Out of the backfield. Mangum can't haul it in. Handoff on 2nd and 10. And Mangum lowers the shoulder and drags the pile forward to the 43.
Montori Foster is your primary guy. He hasn't got a catch yet tonight.
Hauser looking to escape, tucks and runs. Hauser tripped up.
Look, this is safe punt.
Mangum on the direct snap, goes up the middle. There's the first down.
Wow.
Where they just haven't cashed in with points. Handoff, Carter on the delay. stutter step move. Red zone situation. That's the money zone for us. We feel good about that play with a chip on our shoulder after disappointing last season as Hauser just gets converged.
You have two elite pass rushers on the end, particularly JT Tuimoloau right there.
Spartans 0 for 3 on third down, looking for their first conversion, not going to get it. Hauser threw it behind Tyrell Henry. And again, Ohio State gets a stop with Jordan Hancock. 4th and 6 just stalls out just past midfield. Eckley back out there. Will try to pin him deep as Ballard is back to receive it. Calls for the fair catch, lets it bounce behind him. And this is a fantastic punt that gets down in between the 1 and 2 by Montori Foster. Has played solid so far, 41 yards through the air, hasn't completed a whole lot, but they've mixed the run and the pass. They just haven't gotten any on the scoreboard, and now Henderson and this Ohio State offense looking to retort as Henderson will gain a yard.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest possession for the Michigan State defense of the game right here. If they can get a 3 and out, which is they have not been able to do so far, they got a chance to give their offense a short field, and there's nothing more important than that right now for Michigan State's offense, because again, this Ohio State defense is so stingy and has been all year, but a short field would be a huge advantage.
Saw Aaron Brule go off gingerly as McCord will go to the air on 2nd down and find Stover just shy of the 10. Forward progress will get him to the 9. So Cal Holiday makes the tackle. It does set up 3rd down here and about 4. Ohio State 3 for 3 on 3rd down so far tonight. A couple of them have been impressive, and generally you go to who?
Well, where are the guys? Here's Harrison, here's Stover, and here's Henderson. One of those 3.
Henderson. Oh, he runs right into the arms of Derek Harmon. Michigan State will get the stop. Tyrell Henry back to receive it for Michigan State. A little bit of breathing room on that Stover completion and allows Mirko to get a line drive away. But Henry with a little bit of room, if he can get to the outside, he can't. Wrapped up at the 45. Great coverage by the Ohio State special teams.
Our partner Joshua Perry had like 47 tackles in that game for Ohio State. Some kind of record.
He was the team's leading tackler, so it would make sense, as Nate Carter stumbles himself to midfield of Michigan State, and they were 4 and 4 coming into that game against the #1 team in the country. Carter another carry, finds the hole, following his blockers. 1st down as he helicoptered.
Abandoned the run.
Hauser looking to escape, he won't. 2nd sack of the season sets up 2nd and 13. Hauser, deep drop. On the run, Hauser uncorks. Incomplete in the direction of Henry.
Get half of the yardage if you can.
Joyner out of the backfield, Hauser to the outside. Completion is there. Miss from 56. This one's going to be from 53. And Kim's kick is good. #1 team in the nation into it. Marvin Harrison Jr. 3 touchdowns, and that's a big reason why. And
offside. Kicking team number 56. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the touchback spot.
See the numbers from McCord. Hand off to late, handoff again for Henderson. Looking to break free, he won't. Picks up 4. How much of that just comes back to confidence for Kyle McCord? He continues to get more comfortable in the role.
Yeah, I mean, it's confidence. It's just being relaxed. It's not forcing the issue, and it's trusting your protection. It's all that. And the more game reps he gets, the better he's going to be. And this is the best I've seen him all year.
And a rare drop from Marvin Harrison Jr. McCord over the middle, and you know what? He's going to rectify his mistake. Marvin Harrison Jr. a 1st down on the freshman rucker.
We talk about his body control. This is a slant route. This is his size, his big body. He gets separation, and then he just shields the defender with his body. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything, but his size was the difference on that one.
McCord dials it up. Abuka's first catch of the day, and it is a 1st down. Play action. McCord lets it fly. It's caught. Xavier Johnson out of the backfield. 1st and goal. Harrison this time matched up with Kimbrough. Ibuka the motion man. Henderson explodes forward and is in. Touchdown, Ohio State.
For this Ohio State offense, so much for the slow starts.
6-play, 70-yard drive.
On explosive plays. They've got 5 in the game so far tonight. 2 runs and 3 passes.
Fair catch is made by Henry on this 1st down.
Boy, had a great freshman year. Then he was bothered by hand injuries all of last year.
Mangum, jump cut, picks up 3. And the ball came out late. Looked like Henry may have hopped on it. And he did.
When they do take the ball away.
Morris, the motion man, bootleg here. And Hauser's just going to get rid of it. It is Morris on the dump down, but he's got no room to work with. Tripped up by Malik Hartford. But if not, Ohio State's going to have a chance to get a score before kicking it away to start the 3rd. Hauser recognizing the trouble. Flag is down, and Hauser gets rid of it. It's Morris again who bulldozes forward to the 30, so he's short of the 1st down, and we'll see what the penalty is.
Number 66, Ashton Lipo for a hold.
Holding.
And again, it's another great game situation for him at the end of the half to run the 2-minute drill and try to get more points.
Oh boy, the low snap. Eckley fielded it and just gets it away. Flag is thrown, and Ballard makes 1-man miss and ducks out of bounds just shy of the 30.
Kicking team player went out of bounds and returned on his own. Number 0. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced at the previous spot. Repeat 4th down.
So they'll re-kick it. High snap this time, and a line drive delivery from Eckley. Ballard calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 25. He does, a big hat guy. The hat zone.
Yeah.
All right, Ohio State all 3 timeouts to work with. They're going to start with Henderson on the ground, who pushes forward for 3. And you mentioned it would feel right to allow Kyle McCord to let loose a little bit here.
Well, and you've got great confidence in him right now because of the way he's played. And this first down is usually what kind of sets the tone for a 2-minute drive.
To the air, McCord, and a tough pass going to be incomplete. He was looking for Fleming. Johnson will line up out wide. 3rd and 7. Set it, screen, Harrison gets a block. Harrison makes 1-man miss, and he sees where the sticks are. He'll pick up the 1st down out of bounds. And that'll get him 1,000 yards on the season.
Yeah, I think this is Stover with the key block, right? He gets a key block, and then Fleming, or no, that's Ibuka, number 2 out there. Stover and Ibuka with big-time blocks, and then Harrison Jr. does the rest. Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator, also the wide receiver coach, and he stresses blocking by these wideouts.
So McCord dumps it down. Henderson, he's dangerous out of the backfield as a pass catcher, and he will put the head down and pick up the 1st down. That'll pause the clock with 1:01 to play.
Well, last week against Rutgers in the 4th quarter, probably the biggest play of the game offensively at the end was a play just like that, a check down, and he caught it and turned it into a 65-yard gain.
McCord. Another one, Carnell Tate, the freshman. 1st down, stays on his feet out of bounds. Now 50 seconds left, still the 2 timeouts. A lot more field to work with. McCord over the middle, Stover inside the 30, and forced forward to the 26 by Cal Halliday.
I think Ryan Day, did he call timeout or not?
Not yet.
No.
Clock will tick down here. McCord's going to have to hurry. Handoff Henderson. Henderson just barrels his way inside the red zone. 1st down.
Now the clock will stop until they reset the chain, so Kyle McCord can get him up to the line of scrimmage and have this play ready to go as soon as they call it ready.
McCord, end zone. Touchdown, Cade Stover. Tremendous throw from McCord. Touchdown passes for Kyle McCord. 21st to recruit the kid, and loved every second of his visit. Was playing with their pig. As this will be a touchback taken in by Henry. Carter's in there. You do have the 3 timeouts. You do get the football to start the 2nd half, and this will be a handoff to Carter, and he's going backward. Caden Curry was the first one there, and Ohio State comes up with the football. Tyleik Williams has the football in his hands, but I don't think that they're going to get it. I would assume that he was ruled down by forward progress. Let's see. Right now the clock has
The ruling on
zeros.
the field is the runner's forward progress was stopped.
Fielding will send it away. Tyrell Henry back for Michigan State, and the fair catch inside the end zone will start this at the 25. So you've got a Michigan State offense coming out against one of the best defenses in the country.
You have to stay on schedule. I think the offensive line has played pretty good tonight.
They ran the ball fairly effectively, 64 yards on the ground in the first half. And Hauser, guys like Nate Carter, who have years, not just one, but years of eligibility left. Carter gets wrapped up. Michigan State still looking for that first third down conversion tonight. And Hauser can't find it. Off target, looking for Henry.
Through 10 games, or 9.5 games now so far.
Eckley to punt it away. And gets a good one off here. Forces Ballard all the way back inside the 10. Stutter step move. Ballard in between the space, surveys, and Ballard tripped up from behind.
Puts him in different spots, different sides. Finds way to get him the football.
McCord looking for him deep down the middle. Harrison's got it. Tripped up across the 25. Traina, the give. And he plunges forward for 2.
Every other game, well over 100 yards.
McCord looking end zone. He overthrows Ibuka. McCord lofted. Harrison open. Can't get it. Great play by Malik Spencer as he knocks it free. Who is 10 for 11 on the season. And knocks through his 11th on the year. Best rivalries in college football in Ann Arbor against Michigan. And this is a kick that will be caught.
Player in college football. Now, whether or not he'll win the Heisman, that's tough for a wide receiver. But he is the best player, I think, in college football.
Alabama's offense was off the charts, of course, went on to win a national championship. But he really said he just would love to be even invited to New York. That would be an honor for him. He knows how hard it is. Big body tight end. We'll see if they can find him on this 3rd and 2. Play action. Hauser looking. And it's caught, but looks like maybe right at the line. Parachek made the catch, and it's going to depend on the spot. So fresh set of downs. Mangum in there as the running back. Hauser dials it up. On target. First down. Sliding grab for Fitzpatrick.
Nice job coming back in his progressions. He's looking left. And then he stepped up in the pocket. He thought about running, but he found a receiver to his right and got it to him.
To the outside, Henry. The shimmy shake gets him 5. And the redshirt junior missed last week's game. Just so productive from that tight end spot. Nice slant, and it's broken up. Good opportunity for growth continued here for Caden Hauser. The redshirt freshman stepping up in pressure, spinning away, and he's dumped. Tyleik Williams.
And they executed the stunt perfectly.
9.5 tackles for losses for Tyleik Williams. That leads the team. As Eckley will send it away. Fair catch called for and made by Jaden Ballard at the 8-yard line. A comeback drive in the final minute of the game, and Marvin Harrison Jr. likely done for the day. Will stay on the sideline here. He learned a lot from Garrett Wilson. Said that he really took a lot from Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba in his first couple of years here on campus.
Travion Henderson missed 3 games too, and we've already discussed at length what a difference he makes to the running game.
Handoff. Big hole, Chip Traina. And the excellent run from the former linebacker.
Yeah, he transferred from Arizona State, was brought in out of the portal to be a linebacker, but they had depth at that position and needed some help at running back, and he's become an outstanding alternative running back.
Of course, had the game-winning touchdown against Notre Dame week 4 from just on the goal line. As time essentially expired, they eventually put 1 second back up on the clock. Traina this time, nowhere to run. He's going to lose 5. Ken Talley, Derek Harmon among the white jerseys there to make the stop. So 2nd and 14. His Michigan State defense, they're missing still a decent amount of firepower. They've gotten some back, but still no Charles Brantley. Marquis Lowry out. Chris Bogle is out. Darius Snow not available. And then most importantly, their top cornerback, Dylan Tatum, is not available for this game. And he's not just their top cornerback, but their defensive coordinator, Scotty Hazelton, says they could line him pretty much anywhere in the defensive backfield as McCord just finds over the middle, train him on the dump down across the 30. You don't have a guy like that to match up with a Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going to make life a lot more difficult for a defense that's played better, especially the last couple of weeks. But Tatum just means so much for their back line. Here's a 3rd down and 6.
You see Ohio State is being very patient, deliberate on offense right now, using that clock, feeling very comfortable with this 35-point lead. Starting offensive line in and Kyle McCord in, but backups in a lot of other spots.
McCord fading away is going to dirt it. Felt the pressure directly in his face. Those are 2 games against 2 programs that've got a lot of pride. They've got a lot of talent. They've got head coaches that get the most out of their players. And a good Ohio State bounce on this punt will go toe-to-toe once again and renew that rivalry for all the marbles as Hauser will fire short.
They had 2 combined. And that just doesn't sit well with the fan base here, as good as he's been with both the run and the pass.
Their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, has been adamant that everybody knows where they're supposed to be so they can play faster defensively. This one goes to Joyner out of the backfield. He's going to be short of the 1st down as Simon forced him out of bounds. Mangum is the running back. Give it to him, push him forward. Mangum's going to get the 1st down and keep the drive alive. A couple of weeks into the season, it's a very similar position to what Ryan Day had when he was first named that acting head coach when Urban Meyer retired, as Hauser flushed out of the pocket, fires on the run, incomplete.
Pass interference. Defense number 25. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
That's the first penalty against the Buckeyes tonight. Meanwhile, Mangum on the ground. Evades to the outside. Nice run by Mangum across the 40 season, because that's a challenge for anybody, and certainly given the circumstance of what Michigan State has had for Harlan Barnett. And what Ryan Day told us was you really got to rely on your leadership from your players, and you've got to be yourself. Don't try to be a coach you've had. Don't try to be the coach that was there before you. Be yourself and let that kind of carry as a leader.
And he also said you got to empower the guys on the staff and allow them to coach, because a lot of those guys might have been thinking, hey, maybe I should have been the guy that got that tab. And it was Ryan Day instead.
Malik Carr in there, Evan Morris in there. Mangum getting the call. Handoff, Mangum slips through, 1st down, nice run. He's had a productive day.
He has, yeah, he has. It's not a lot of yards, just a little over 30 yards, 35 yards on 9 carries, but he's running for tough yards. He's got good forward lean when football.
Hauser delivers. Oh, dangerous throw. It was batted down. Jermaine Matthews, the other true freshman, getting time with a nice play on the football with Alante Brown there.
Yeah, Jermaine Matthews just really squatted on that route. He was not fearing that the receiver was going to go deep. Kind of came out of that play with a jammed finger, but Jermaine Matthews, another true freshman, getting a lot of playing time. When Denzel Burke was going through some of his injury issues, Jermaine Matthews had to play a lot of snaps in the big win against Penn State. And in the last couple of weeks, he's played well.
Jim Knowles said it's not ideal to have Matthews and Malik Hartford out there as much as we have, as Malik Carr is going to get a catch and run here and picks up 8. A flag down in the backfield. He did say that he's been happy with the way they've produced. He's been happy with the way they've handled themselves in some bigger moments.
Holding. Offense number 67. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
J.D. Duplain, the captain, starting his 40th consecutive game here tonight.
Yeah, and Duplain is really just trying to get rid of this block and get out in front of the screen. Watch him right here. He's just going to he is going to throw the defender down, but he's just trying to get out in front of the play. But you just can't grab and throw a guy that way. Engage with him and then disengage and get out in front of the play.
Pretty impressive Ironman streak for Duplain. 2nd most in a row in school history. Shane Hanna did it 44 consecutive times. Carter back in there, 2nd down and 20. Hauser, dump it. Gates couldn't come up with it.
Steele Chambers and Eichenberg will both be moving on, and he could be too. He wants him to come back, be a captain, and have a great season.
Hand it to Carter on the 10th play of the drive, and he'll gain a yard and make it 4th down and 19. So now we'll see what Michigan State elects to do. In all likelihood, they will punt this away unless they want to attempt another incredibly long field goal. Not going to be the case this time. I mean, Jonathan Kim did make it from 58 at Kinnick. And he had the leg on the 56-yarder to open the game. Made it from 53. But it will be Ryan Eckley. Eckley gets it away. Fair catch called for and made by Jaden Ballard. The 4th quarter.
Well, remember, Devin Brown, the normal backup, is still recovering from an ankle injury, so they would have to go even further down the depth chart if they want to take Kyle McCord out. I can't imagine they would play Devin Brown at all unless it was an emergency situation. One of their best players, if not the best player back, is going to be huge for that.
And Carson Beck really starting to settle in that starting quarterback slot as well, similar to Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
First-year starters. McCord hands off Johnson, who's had a couple of carries today. Now he reverses field. Johnson makes a man miss. Johnson into a crowd and a big gain to the 35. Maverick Hansen, Travion Henderson, and no more Marvin Harrison Jr. the rest of the way. Another completion from McCord. This one Carnell Tate across the 40 as he's dragged down. And no more Alex Grinch, a defensive coordinator for SC. We'll see what the Trojans look like against a high-powered Oregon offense. Handoff, Trainum finds some space, and Trainum into Michigan State territory. It is Lincoln Kienholz, freshman from Pierre, South Dakota, one of the top-ranked quarterback recruits in this past class. 6'2", 200. You saw him warming up on the field.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. He can throw it. And yeah, you could tell he had a little bounce in his step, like he thought he might get a chance to play tonight. He was getting a lot of reps in warm-ups as the #2 guy behind Kyle McCord. And so he's in there and gets a chance now with 12.5 minutes left in the ball game.
By the way, heck of a day for Kyle McCord. 24 of 31, 335 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So we'll see what Kienholz has on a 2nd and 4. Play action and a completion. Excellent job on the play call, and the yards after the catch coming for Jelani Thurman, a tight end.
Good ball fake. Watch him really sell this fake to Trainum. Hides the football. That enabled him to get outside with no pressure and then make the little soft throw.
So Thurman utilizing that frame for Kienholz. They were hoping maybe he'd get here earlier, but he decided to stay back and play on his high school's basketball and baseball teams. 3-sport athlete, excelled at all of them. And we'll see what he's made of in his first real action here. Evan Pryor also in the backfield, and he's got the handoff. Pryor up the gut, dragging tacklers for 5. So you get to go a little deeper into their depth chart if you're Ohio State.
Yeah.
And if you're Michigan State, again, this is something that Harlan Barnett stressed with us, is playing against these top 10 teams. You want to play against good teams because it sets the foundation for your program moving forward. He believes with guys like Katin Hauser, the youthful energy that he's brought, the youthful energy that surrounds him, these are experiences now that you can carry into the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, they are. It's just still frustrating. I mean, they've played 3 top 10 teams, and they are losing by a combined score of 128-10. So, I mean, it's there's not a whole lot to hang your hat on with that, other than if you do ever turn it around and win a game like this, you'll sure appreciate it.
Play action pass. It'll go right back to Jelani Thurman, and then he is upended. He somehow stayed upright.
The thing I will say about Michigan State that impresses me, again, when I watch film or even watching tonight, there's no quit in the team. I mean, they're still out there playing hard for Harlan Barnett and his staff. And that's a credit to him and a credit to the assistants that they've not lost the football team. Now, they had some guys transfer out, you know, when things started to go awry early. But the guys that have stayed have played hard, and they've played together, and they just have not had success. But there's some positive in the fight and the toughness that they've shown.
Pryor on 3rd down and 1 will pick up the 1st down. We were there, and a flag is down on the field on the sideline. We were there a couple weeks ago in East Lansing. We were there for practice, and the energy at that practice was legit.
Offense, 5 players lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Have to see exactly what this looked like. Ryan Day not happy on the sideline, either with his players or with the officials for making the call. But we were at that Michigan State practice. That was a genuine level of intensity and focus from that team, a team that at the time had endured a long losing streak that they didn't actually break until last week against Nebraska, their last true home game of the season at Spartan Stadium, in a 3-point victory. And they pulled out a lot of the stops in that game. A couple of gadget plays, a couple of trick plays, and another whistle. This one's going to be a timeout for Ohio State.
Before the ball was snapped, timeout, Ohio State, their 2nd of the half.
3rd and 6 for Lincoln Keenholz and the Ohio State offense. Play action pass. They're going to let him go to the end zone. Incomplete. Broken up by Kimbrough. He was looking for Ballard. Fans remaining here wanted a flag. They won't get it.
A lot of hand fighting. Both guys got their hands on each other, and it was a good play on the ball by Kimbrough. I think that's a good no call. He just made a nice play on the football.
So it'll get Jaden Fielding back out for another field goal attempt. Already hit from 36 earlier in the 2nd half. This one will be from 42 yards out. And Fielding's kick. No good. Missed it. A massive play. Not just a, hey, conversion. No, a game-breaking, game-altering type of play. Daniels is there to provide it for him as Nate Carter runs hard per usual and gets to the 30-yard line. So extended minutes and extended action as expected for a lot of the starters from Michigan State. Caden Hauser, they were hoping to just have him go for the full game, as Kyle McCord is going to get a rest the rest of the way. Final 9 minutes here in Columbus. And Nate Carter, when we talked to Harlan Barnett and his coaching staff about Carter this week, he had such a strong start to the season, and he's tailed off statistically. They said a big reason why is he hasn't had a chance to really go through a full season and understand what is required to take care of that body at the correct level. Not to say he's not doing that, but understanding, taking those hits, the toll that it takes on your body, and knowing how to properly recover and go about everything the right way so that you can extend yourself for this final stretch run of a season.
Well, and also with the absence of Jalen Berger, and now we've seen Mangum come in to give him a break, but they didn't have that. In the last 4 games for Michigan State, their leading rusher had not gone over 55 yards. And so right now, Nathan Carter is sitting there at 11 carries and 52 yards.
And that was, movement quick.
Everybody moved, but the center didn't snap it.
Can we get it? Everybody but the center? I mean, I always like
Ball
it.
start, offense, everyone but the center.
Yes!
5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
It's one of the best calls in football.
Yeah. Well, remember, Nick Samac is no longer in the game. It's Fincher.
So with Fincher in there, the mental error will back up Michigan State to a 3rd down and 9.
They might have to tap him on this one. The guard might have to tap him and let him know.
Parachek was the motion man. Hauser over the middle. It's caught, but well short of the sticks. Meanwhile, big hit delivered.
2nd best in the FBS behind Michigan coming into the game today. And only 3 points on the board right now for Michigan State.
Michael O'Shaughnessy is going to punt it away for Michigan State. Fair catch is going to be called for and made at the 23. Without Jim Harbaugh, now 4-0 on the season. They win it 24-15 as Pryor is devoured in the backfield by Brule. So look, Michigan, they get the win. A lot going on with the program. Certainly the last 48 hours. Jim Harbaugh suspended for the final 3 games of the season. And everyone's been looking forward to that Week 13 game against Ohio State. But they've got a lot going on just in general. This was an impressive way to showcase what they have on the field with a win today.
Yeah, and, you know, the timing of the suspension was a little, you know, strange. It had happened. You know, he found out as they were flying to State College. I got the sense, I talked to Tony Petitti last Saturday. I got the sense something was going to happen. I think Jim Harbaugh had the sense something was going to happen. And it was one of those things where he's kind of can't win, you know, because if you're a Michigan people or fans, you're going to say, let due process run its course. You can't act ahead, but he's feeling pressure from 13 other coaches and athletic directors to do something. And if you're Michigan, it could have been worse, right? I mean, he's suspended for the last 3 games. I think they're going to take some legal action to see if they can get an injunction to where that would not be the case for the last 2 games. But he can coach during the week, so he can still be involved with the team, the game plan, all of that. All that being said, I thought what Michigan did today with Sharon Moore as the offensive coordinator, play caller, and acting head coach was impressive. And they went into State College, played a really good defensive football team. And it was a close game, and they made some great adjustments. You know, they started out the game. Penn State was getting after them with their edge rushers. They're really talented. And they said, you know what, we're going to change courses. We're going to stop throwing. We're going to put big people in the game. We're going to run the football. And at one point, at the end of the first half and through the whole second half, they ran the ball 30 consecutive plays and just took over the game and played bully ball and found a way to win in a very gritty fashion. And so it was an impressive win. And, you know, we've covered that team, right?
Yes.
And we've talked to their players, and we know how close that team is. It's a very close football team. And I think the circumstances of this week maybe even galvanized them even more.
Jim Harbaugh has maintained he has not known anything and still does not know anything about the in-person scouting that the NCAA investigation is looking into. Brutus deceptively strong, by the way. And a new quarterback in there now for Michigan State. It's the 5th-year senior walk-on, Drew Scorfar. And he'll hand it off Joyner, and he is leveled in the backfield. Loses 3. It's got to be a nice moment for Scorfar. 5th-year senior walk-on, first collegiate appearance, and it happens here at Ohio Stadium.
Well, you know, part of the reason we're seeing him is because Sam Leavitt, the freshman quarterback who was the backup, he has already played 4 games. And so there was some question, was he going to try to keep his red shirt or was he going to play tonight? Last week they had a plan. They played him the 3rd series of the first half and the second half. And clearly tonight we get the answer that Sam Leavitt, they're going to protect his red shirt. And so that's why we're seeing the 5th-year senior.
And he'll hand it off again. Joyner will push the pile to the 30. Meanwhile, Noah Kim, who started the first 5 games of the season, has been technically available as an emergency quarterback, but he's been battling an injury ever since Caden Hauser took over, and that injury is very legitimate. When you talk to the coaching staff, they didn't realize how serious it actually was until they got to the bye week and recognized, oh, we got to handle this. So Kim wasn't going to be the guy to come in, and as you mentioned, Leavitt wasn't going to be the guy to come in. So that means Scorfar's in there, and he'll get his first action. We'll see if he can throw his first collegiate pass here on 3rd and 9. Scorfar to the outside. It goes low. It is a completion behind the sticks, and Tyrell Henry has to go down to get it. So 4th down and long upcoming. So 3 and out. Clock dwindles down here for Harlan Barnett, who was very honest with us when you asked him about the full-time job and becoming the head coach at Michigan State. We talked about it off the top. This is somebody who bleeds green. This is his school. He attended. He's coached here for a long time, a couple different stints, and he said it's not going to be easy. In fact, it might be impossible to find anybody who is as passionate about the Spartans as I am. He has been told he will be getting at minimum an interview. And after last week's win, excitement around the program of what this could look like. Conversation this year Caleb Williams is the guy who's trying to be that back-to-back winner. In all likelihood, just based on how the season has shaken out for USC, he's out of the running, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. A ridiculous, wild stretch to end the season. They find their way to the Pac-12 championship and get all the way through. Maybe things happen, but still putting up fantastic numbers.
Yeah, fantastic numbers. The thing that's hurting Caleb Williams as much as anything is there's two other quarterbacks in the same league that he's playing in that are having great years, and Michael Penix Jr. at Washington and Bo Nix at Oregon. So that they're taking votes away from each other because they're all having outstanding season. I still think Marvin Harrison Jr. is right there in the thick of things, and deservedly so. And then of course Jaden Daniels, we've been talking about his numbers. The thing that's working against Jaden Daniels is the fact that they have 3 losses as a team.
And Florida
is hard.
Florida just brought that game to within 3 with 10.5 minutes left. So if Florida finds a way to win that game, both those schools will be 6-4. But Daniels, despite having 504 total yards of offense and 3 total touchdowns with 10.5 minutes left in the game, he had that going into the 4th quarter. Despite all of that, despite the eye-popping numbers, 4 losses is probably too much to overcome for a Heisman candidate. But for Marvin Harrison Jr., we talked about it. He'd just be excited to be invited to New York, to be in the conversation more than anything. And you mentioned it, it's the big games, and he's going to have that chance against Michigan. If he replicates what he did in the first half of this game and goes out and does that against Michigan, because let's remember that college football playoff game last year, he had to leave. He got hurt. He exits the game. He doesn't come back in. The play clock was going to dwindle all the way down, and delay of game here against Ohio State. So some of that youth showing and inexperience.
Offense, 5-yard penalty.
But Marvin's going to have his opportunity to showcase exactly what makes him so special to the world.
Well, he's fun to watch. You know, I mean, he just does things the right way. And, you know, aside from his talent, when you talk to the coaches, they talk about his work ethic and his discipline, and they almost have to slow him down a little bit because he wants to take every rep. He is very meticulous in his preparation.
In all likelihood, this will be the final play of this game. Keenholt stays in there at quarterback. 10-second runoff takes us to 11 ticks remaining. Pryor on the handoff, and he gets stonewalled by Jalen Sami, and then a little extra after the play. Clocks are at zeros. This game is over. Ohio State, they craved a faster start. They got a faster start, and they carried the momentum all the way through. 38-3, the #1 team in the country. Dominant start to finish at home.